This presentation is about the law of disorder, the unstoppable, unassailable law, which is also reckoned as the supreme law of the nature. Hi, my name is Sachidanand Kangovi. Since our existence itself depends on this law, my presentation will focus on understanding what it is and how to manage it for our sake and for the sake of future generations. I would like to start with a very popular story to illustrate how disorder impacts an entity. It is from the movie Jurassic Park. I'm sure many of you have seen this movie. The eccentric biotech entrepreneur Hammond starts a theme park from cloned dinos. He hopes to attract millions of paying visitors and dreams of becoming fabulously wealthy. However, the park encounters successive disorders, including human error, approaching storm leading to evacuation by most of the park personnel, betrayal by a greedy employee, storm knocking out the power supply, releasing the animals from their enclosures, and finally an encounter between T-Rex and Velociraptor, which results in mayhem and wrecking of the control center, leaving the park in ruins. Hammond's dreams are shattered. Once the audience gets over the blood-curdling edge of the seat cinematography, the sayings that comes to their mind is anything that could go wrong went wrong. Anything that could go wrong will go wrong, and other such sayings, according to Steven Pinker, professor of psychology at Harvard University, acknowledges a law of physics. Not just any law, but a profound law of physics. Not just a profound law, but the supreme law of the nature. No, I am not making it up. This is what Sir Arthur Eddington, professor of astronomy at Cambridge University, wrote in his 1935 book, The Nature of the Physical World. He wrote, "This law occupies the supreme position among all the laws of the nature." He was the one who experimentally verified Einstein's theory of relativity. He continued in his book that the chain of deductions from this simple law have been almost illimitable. The renowned physicist and brilliant mind of our time, Stephen Hawking, professor of mathematics at Cambridge University, pointed out that the time itself is given its direction, what is known as the arrow of time that distinguishes past from the future by this law. Such is the profundity of this law. So what is this profound law? Surprisingly, such a profound law of physics had its beginning in the investigations of steam engines, which was a hot topic in early 19th century, just as artificial intelligence is today. Sadi Carnot, a French researcher, was the first to investigate the efficiency of the steam engine from thermodynamics point of view and published his findings in a book in 1824. The title of the book was Reflections on the Motive Power of Fire. Later in 1851, William Thomson improved on the findings of Carnot. Thomson later became known as Lord Kelvin and contributed extensively to various branches of science. He became very well respected and in fact is buried in Westminster Abbey, Sir Isaac Newton and Charles Darwin. It was, however, a Polish emigre teaching in Germany who built on the findings of Carnot and Lord Kelvin to postulate the two laws of thermodynamics. His name was Rudolf Clausius. In 1865, he published his findings enunciating the two laws of thermodynamics defined as the first law, the energy of the universe is constant, and the second law, the entropy of the universe tends to a maximum. He introduced the word entropy derived from Greek word entropia, meaning transformation. He used this word to describe non-usable energy of a system. The word entropy was included in English language in 1868. Since entropy is also interpreted as disorder or randomness in a system, hence it is also known as the law of disorder. It states that disorder of the system tends to increase over time. It was quite a leap of faith from steam engines to the universe, but has withstood the test of time for last 159 years. A crater on Moon has been named as Clausius crater to honor Rudolf Clausius. In addition to the universe, including our solar system and time, the law of disorder has now been applied to various fields such as life, ecology, governance, economy, and information systems. In 1944, Nobel laureate Erwin Schrödinger proposed in his book, What is Life? That life itself has two components. Order from order is what we inherit from our parents, and order from disorder is what we consume from our ecosystems to sustain our lives. In 1953, Crick, Watson, and Wilkins discovered the DNA, which confirmed that there is order from order. They got Nobel Prize for their finding. The body is made of various systems. Each system has organs. These organs are made of tissues, which are made of in turn by cells. There are trillions of cells in our body. Each cell has a nucleus which has DNA. It is a complex molecule consisting of nitrogen compound bound by hydrogen. Each pair is called base pair. There are 3 billion base pairs arranged in double helix. These are grouped in genes consisting of hundreds to thousands of base pairs. There are 100,000 genes in our body that can carry instructions that expresses at appropriate places to make our eyes, teeth, hair, etc. These 100,000 genes are divided into 46 chromosomes, which we inherit from our parents, 23 chromosomes from each parent. Thus, there is order from order. Later in 1955, Prigoghine's research on non-equilibrium thermodynamics confirmed the order from disorder. He also got Nobel Prize for his work. This finding has clearly established a linkage between life and ecosystem. It is interesting to note that on average a human consumes 4 pounds of food, 8 pounds of water, and 30 pounds of air per day for his sustenance, thus causing disorder in the ecosystem. Schneider and Case investigated the applicability of the law of disorder on ecology. The enormous temperature difference between Sun and Earth causes energy flow from Sun to Earth. Part of that energy is blocked by the ozone layer. Rest is dissipated by 4 different mechanisms, including evaporation of rainwater, absorption, photosynthesis, and radiation by Earth back to space. This maintains Earth's temperature in a certain range that depends on 3 regions of Earth, namely torrid, temperate, and frigid regions. Since torrid region gets most of the sun's energy, it has the highest diversity of plants and life to dissipate this energy. However, increased population is leading to increased deforestation and increase in greenhouse gases. These greenhouse gases are causing a sort of blanket on Earth that increases Earth's temperature by 1 degree centigrade. This is leading to climate change and disorders such as floods, fires, and global warming. Also, a report by the UN shows that world population is increasing by 50 million per year. That means every 20 years the population goes up by 1 billion. The linkage between rapid population growth and climate change is therefore unmistakable. With universe, time, biological life, and ecology in its ambit, applicability of the law of disorder to society was investigated by Nedzeljka Petric, a professor in Croatia, in 1991. Her research showed that people in free society have higher energy levels as compared to the people in authoritarian societies. However, when a disorder hits, it could be fire, earthquake, floods, or pandemic, the energy level of the society decreases. But in authoritarian societies, people bounce back much faster than in free societies. However, when the people in free societies bounce back, they reach higher levels than those in the authoritarian society. Now, in order to have free societies, democracy is needed. It was first proposed by Cleisthenes in Athens during 508 to 507 BC. Actually, democracy is derived from the combination of two Greek words, demos meaning common people and kratos meaning strength. But democracy only took root after battles between oligarchic parliament and King of England in mid-17th century and creation of Magna Carta and an habeas corpus in late 17th century. In England, American saga of democracy started with the Declaration of Independence in 1776. According to American political scientist Larry Diamond, there are four important pillars of democracy, namely free and fair election elect government by the people, second, participation by people in social and political activities, third, Bill of Rights, and fourth, rule of law. According to Larry Diamond, disorder is growing in all these four pillars. About 50% people participate in voting, less and less folks are participating in social and political activities, and disregard for Bill of Rights and rule of law has greatly increased. This is primarily due to laxity in enforcement, ineffective laws, corruption, nexus between politicians and special interest groups, etc. All these are leading to growth of disorder in free societies and governance all over the application of the law of disorder has been investigated in the economy of a country. There are three major areas of importance in economy of any country. A. Monetary policies, B. Fiscal policies, and C. Trade policies. Trade is important to every country because resources are distributed around the globe. In order to facilitate trade, there is a World Trade Organization with 123 member countries. David Collins, a professor of international economics at University of London in the UK, published a paper in 2014 about the growth of disorder in WTO. The growth of disorder, according to him, is due to impasse in trade negotiations, rise of bilateralism, vagueness in treaty texts, and inadequate enforcement procedures. Similarly, Michael Pinto, president of a financial company in the US, wrote in 2019 about the growth of disorder in both the fiscal and monetary policies. According to him, monetary policies by central banks around the globe are increasingly supporting stock markets and not just addressing inflation and employment. Similarly, every government is spending more than its revenue. Combination of these disorders, including ineffectiveness in trade, ballooning national debt, overvalued stock markets, contagion effects, volatility in stock markets, increasing wealth gap, etc., are causing anxiety in common folks, and if it continues unabated, could lead to social unrest. I will now describe how disorder is growing in social networks. Initially, these social networks were considered highways of information to benefit the society. However, it has now turned into, as Tom Friedman, an American author and columnist, says, a sewer that has gold, diamond, and other precious gems, as well as toxic waste, rusty cans, and broken bottles, and no one to separate one from the other. This is impairing our cognitive abilities to separate fact from fiction. End of quote. Social networks are currently spreading envy, stalking, hate, trolling, and turning folks into attention addicts. The providers of these platforms are raking in huge revenue. Some are even trillion-dollar companies, but are not held responsible to uphold truth, ethics, and civility. I have classified all the applications where the law of disorder was investigated into three categories. These are natural, hybrid, and man-made systems as shown here. In this slide, the time scale to reach maximum disorder and the degree of control we humans have for natural, hybrid, and man-made systems are shown. We can see that lifespan for natural and hybrid systems are fairly large compared to man-made systems. We also see that we humans have very little control on natural and hybrid systems. Based on this classification, we can draw some important inferences. These are: our lives depend on natural systems like universe, solar system, etc. However, the fact remains that these natural systems are beyond our control, and growth of disorder takes place in these natural systems over a very large time scale. There is not much we can do about the increase in disorder of these natural systems. In coming to the hybrid system, like biological life and ecological systems, which also govern our lives, we have some control over growth of disorder in hybrid systems. The time scale over which these disorders grow is also large. And lastly, man-made systems such as political, legal, financial, social systems are concerned. We do have considerable capacity to control the growth of disorder. The time scale over which disorder grows is measured in few decades to few hundred years. We can see clearly that in the time span of natural or hybrid systems, many generations of humans will inhabit this planet, and therefore it is imperative to slow the march of disorder for our own survival and for the survival of future generations. We cannot and must not add fuel to fire and increase the pace of growth of disorder by our own follies. We cannot ignore the laws of nature because they do not wait whether we understand them or not. They march relentlessly. It does not mean we have to prevent any change. What it means is to manage the change without accelerating the growth of disorder. It requires delicate balance to manage change. So now the question is, what specific steps do we need to take? Here are some that I can think of as shown in this slide. 1. We can protect our rainforests, plant trees, and prevent extinction of many animal species from rampant killing. This will rejuvenate the environment. 2. Every 20 years, human population is growing by 1 billion. Few decades ago, it was 4 billion, and now it is approaching 8 billion. It is fast reaching unsustainable levels. Imagine 8 billion humans consuming 4 pounds of food, 8 pounds of water, and 30 pounds of air every day. In addition, there are millions of other animals doing the same. It is like a huge engine devouring natural resources every day. The rate of increase in population needs to be reduced in order to improve the quality of life. Reduce greenhouse gases by increasing the use of alternate energy resources. Enacting laws to make social networks platform providers ensure accuracy, civility, and quality of posting. Antiquated laws need to be modified or repealed. These laws were passed decades ago under different circumstances. Next, maintaining law and order by enacting and enforcing beneficial laws and still assuring freedom requires delicate balance. Lastly, growth of disorder in economy needs to be slowed by better trade, monetary, and fiscal policy. I want to leave you with a quote from Václav Havel, who was an author, poet, playwright, and president of Czech Republic from 1993 to 2003. He said, just as the constant increase of entropy is the basic law of the universe, so is the basic law of life to be ever more highly structured and to struggle against entropy. In summary, we covered what is the law of disorder and its applications to various fields. We also discussed how these applications are classified as natural, hybrid, and man made systems based on the time scale and the degree of control we humans have. We then examined the inferences we can draw from such classification, and finally we covered some steps that we can take for our sake as well as for the sake of posterity. I am giving a reference for further reading. Please share this presentation because our existence itself depends on the law of disorder and how we manage it. Thank you.